Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the tech podcast where we talk about everything tech from AI to VR, robots to flying cars. This week I am joined by Paul Bratzlavsky, Sarah Kimmel, and Bobby Davis. Coming up in this week's episode, is Apple lagging behind with AI? Are Android devices being sold with pre-installed unkillable Trojan malware? Turns out, apparently they are. AI is watching you at the checkout, so don't be double scanning things or single scanning things and throwing them in the bags because you might get caught. And we'll wrap up with our null, not null recommendation section where we recommend that you avoid a product or service. So I posted a post on Threads yesterday, or it was a couple days ago. No, yesterday. I was just thinking about Apple and their AI and where they're not at the minute, and what kind of spawned me to post this. And here's what I posted. I'll read this out. I said, I think Apple is going to continue to lag behind on the AI front because they won't release a half-baked implementation. They want it to be perfect. But this isn't how everyone else is rolling out AI. Microsoft and Meta are just throwing out whatever is ready and hoping it sticks. In this case, the search for perfection could put Apple too far behind. And I'm going to get a couple of replies, but the replies didn't agree with me. They disagreed with me. They thought that, no, this is what Apple does. And while I agree, this is what Apple has done in the past, I don't think this works in the case of AI. So my point is being that I think Apple's playing a dangerous game waiting for something that's perfect in the case of AI. So my instinct is that others will get too far ahead. Like Meta, Microsoft, Google have really pushed heavy AI into everything. Like literally the Pixel 8 from Google they are pitching it as an AI phone. If you go to the website for the Pixel, it is the first banner that comes up. It's like Pixel phone with AI. It's not like it's a secondary or third feature. It is the feature of the phone. Likewise with Microsoft. It's the new version of Windows they just released, this annual version. It has AI baked into it in the sidebar. It is part of the OS now. Neither the iPhone nor Mac OS has any generative type AI in it. I'm going to call this second generation AI, right? Not like machine learning and all the stuff they have on the back end that you don't see. I'm thinking about the consumer side of stuff where you say, hey, we have AI now. And we've not seen any of that from Apple. So the argument is that in the past, Apple's always waited, right? They've always basically they've never been first with just about anything, but they've always done stuff best in their eyes. And in my eyes, I think they've done a lot of stuff best. They wait for the technology to mature, then they leap into it. But I think my personal opinion is with AI, being late to the game is going to be a problem for them. I just think it's different. And I kind of want to get your guys' opinion. So I'll start with you, Paul. What do you think? Do you think Apple is reluctant to jump into this, or are they just playing a waiting game? Are they going to handle it like they've handled every other piece of technology? And do you think it hurts them?
I think in Apple's case, it could be a couple of different things, but like you said, they're always very good at taking something and making it better. But in the case of AI, I would have to agree with you. Things are moving so quickly and changing so fast. You definitely want to keep the velocity, put it out there, have the user test it, get feedback, and make it better. Plus, I feel like there's this infrastructure that you need to have in order to have proper AI, and it's I don't even know where they stand with that. But to be honest, maybe they have something that they've been working on. They're just not talking about it, and it's not public facing. Maybe they already have AGI and they just don't want to tell the world. Yeah.
They do have something they're working on. There was a story put out in The Verge. This was the story that I was going to show, where they say they reportedly are spending millions of dollars a day training an AI, but we haven't. It's codename Ajax, which bad name if you're in the programming world, because it's
it scrubs toilets.
Yeah, it's
no, it's an Ajax request.
It's an existing technology for the web. Yeah. So it's it's kind of a bad name. It's not a great name. But anyway,
I guess it is a scrubber though. They're scrubbing the internet.
That's true.
Yeah, they are training something, but we've seen zero implementation of this. Nothing at all, and no even sight that there's going to be something, because we just saw releases of this year's Mac OS and this year's iOS. So if this does come in and it is part of the next version of that, we're talking about at least a year away if they don't implement something on a mid-cycle thing. And this doesn't seem like it's a mid-cycle kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, I would say knowing Apple, and like, I'm not saying that they have like, they're smart. They have smart people working there. And so I would probably say that they are working on something and they're going to unveil it when it's ready. And it's probably going to be awesome if you follow what Apple has been doing. Because if you look at, the Vision Pro Apple showcase didn't quite release, it's way better, even, compared to like Meta Quest 3. I know they're not in the same price, but I think Apple is really good at really blowing people's minds with their marketing and possibly their technology. So I'm just assuming that if it does come out, it's either going to be super amazing or it's going to blow up on their face and they're going to miss the boat. And I think, though, like, part of me wants it to be behind, and I think it's a mistake not doing it in public because you miss out on getting that feedback from your users and the process you could iterate. Because as we saw with all these AI companies, it was never like a perfect thing. It was always like a learning experience after letting it out in the wild and being like, oh man, this is not working the way we should, and then fixing it. And Apple's kind of like, you know what, maybe we're just going to do it internally and, come up with something so amazing. Who knows? They might be hiring and like poaching all the best AI minds from all the different companies, locking them in a room and saying, listen, you're not going to get out of here until we have something so amazing. And so there's probably like a room of 5 people, just wishing like, how could they make it better so they could have freedom again, But
I think this is also why it's a little bit different, because I think usually like locking the 5 smartest people in a room to create something could work. But I agree with you, Paul, that I don't think it works for this, because I think you need the consensus of everybody pushing all of their ideas and all of their like weirdness into this, because like you said, we saw what happened when these AIs first came out. They were jailbroken in, minutes, probably. At least the first day they came out, people were misusing them, right? So, and they certainly hadn't thought of that. So there'll be things that happen that need to happen based on a larger group of people, not just these 5 smart people in a room.
So here's what I think what they're doing, and I think what the other companies are doing wrong. I know I don't work for any of these large companies. They should hire me. I keep saying that every week. There's a cost benefit analysis going on right now. And I think that there's some estimates that for a chatbot to be able to respond, and this is coming from Microsoft and Bing, they need 8 GPUs to respond in less than a second. A GPU is costing around $10,000 a hit. They're saying Microsoft would have to spend $80 billion to be able to service what Google can currently do on their search index. So if Bing got to the size of Google, they have to spend an additional $80 billion. And that doesn't count the ongoing maintenance of this, like for how many people do they have to hire just in GPU cost. And so while GPUs may come down, I don't know if Apple's looking at this and like, okay, we'll let you figure out what the app is, because we don't know what the app is. So if ChatGPT is the app, and that's the app that everybody wants a chatbot, this thing is dead on arrival. There's got to be another app that comes out. So I looked through like, what are the other use cases for this? They're saying that for GitHub Copilot, you pay $10 a month. People use $20 to $80 a month just to get code completions out, and and they have 1.5 million users on this, and it still loses lots and lots and lots of money. And so I think Apple may be smarter than you think. Not that they're saying we can't build this or we don't know what we're doing, but like, do we want to invest $100 billion in an app that we don't know if anyone's ever really going to use it? And I know that seems crazy. Are we going to pay? Let me ask you a question, Kevin. Are you going to pay when you're paying $6 for Google Docs or $6 a month for Office to go ahead and sign up and say, well, I want to pay $36 a month for AI infused applications? And I think the answer to that is going to be probably not.
No, because that's not the way that Apple's going to price it either. But I don't think of it as being a standalone product that I'm going to pay a single thing for. Yeah. I'm thinking of, I'm going to buy an iPhone because it has the best AI baked into it. Therefore, they're making a ton of money on the iPhone. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Pixel 8. It's like, it's an interesting phone because it has the AI stuff in it.
Mhm.
That's why I find it interesting. Whether it costs them more to run the AI or not, it's a loss lead to sell the phone for me.
If I had to guess, if you look at what these M1, M2 chips now and so forth going forward, it's like they realized that what they wanted to do, Intel wasn't cutting. So they created their own kind of chip. And I'm thinking they might be following that same process where right now they're doing a lot of research and development in trying to figure out how can you make AI chips that run on low energy but could output like similar results. And so the idea is like, let us win through developing new technology rather than just implementing AI on the existing things exist. Because if they could get it to a point where the cost of powering these apps in terms of money costs and energy costs is way lower than the competition, they're going to win no matter what.
Yes. And so I think in a lot of ways, maybe they're thinking like instead of going for the gold rush to build the next app, they're saying we're just going to sell everyone a shovel so you can go dig for the gold. And then there's a lot of companies going to go out of business for this. Like I'm looking at VC pitch decks and things like that. And like, there are some crazy like valuations out there for some of these companies. And they're all just buying NVIDIA chips. And so the NVIDIA is the winner for sure. They're selling the shovel. I don't know if all of these companies, how many chatbots do we need? We need Claude, Siri, Alexa. I don't know how many we need. ChatGPT, they didn't give it, there's a name. They should name it something. Frankie or something. I don't know what you call it.
Well, when Apple does release this in about 5 years, they're going to pretend like they invented it and that it's newest thing ever. I mean, literally, they just released interactive widgets. And how long has Android had interactive widgets?
Here's the difference, though.
10 years?
I think interactive widgets, interactive widgets isn't a FOMO for me. Right, so I have no FOMO over interactive widgets.
That would I'm not going to buy crazy if I had an iPhone.
But here's the thing: like, if I have an iPhone, I'm not going to buy an Android because, like, man, it has interactive widgets. But I will buy an Android device if it has AI that the iPhone does not. Like, I'm talking about the Pixel phone has FOMO. It has FOMO. It does, because here's the thing: when Apple does do it in 5 years, when Apple does have the thing, and it does take them 5 years, and they've perfected it, that's too late. It's too late. People like me, who are Apple diehard people, have already bought an Android phone that has the AI on it.
Listen,
I thought that was when we talked this morning, Kevin, and you told me, you said, I might buy a Pixel 8. I'm like, what? Really? Like, really? You're going away from Apple. Like, what's next? I got to buy Chromebooks for everybody in the company?
To be fair, though, Kevin, to be fair, once Apple does come out with the better AI, you're going to buy 2 iPhones.
You're jumping back.
You're buying the iPads, the iPhones, the watches, everything.
Maybe, but if my point is, if they don't push something out soon, they're going to lose some market share. I don't see it increasing. I don't see it going up. I see people jumping, at least in the short term. That's why I'm saying if they can put something out, great. But they've got to get to it quick. It's like just trying to perfect it over the course of decades or years or whatever it's going to be just doesn't seem like the approach for AI. Because some of the AI features that Pixel phone has is crazy. Like, I want that stuff on my iPhone. Now, I know you can do it through other third-party apps and that kind of stuff. You can. There's a lot of stuff you can do. You can download third-party. But the fact that it's like baked in and just like comes with the camera stuff is fascinating. The fact that you can change faces on the camera, like you can take 10 shots and if somebody blinks, you just replace one of the faces. Like, that's insane. The moving stuff around, the Photoshop style stuff that's on it is super impressive. Like, Apple needs that to keep selling phones.
So the question I have is that stuff natively powered on the Android phone via their chip in it, or is it powered by the software that's being run somewhere else that you have access on your phone?
It's going to be software. Yeah, it's going to be software.
So in that case, like Apple could just be like, oh, we released this new app that has the same features. It might not be like a native thing.
For sure.
Like, I think like Apple does a lot of AI stuff that's just not making, like they're not publicly, talking about it. Because I'm assuming, like they're not going to say like, our camera does this because of AI, they're just going to say this is what our camera does. Kind of like.
Yeah, but the camera doesn't do any of those features.
I know,
and I
I'm
agree
trying
with
to
that.
give
I
him
think
some
it is a
credit,
feature thing.
Kevin. I'm just trying.
No,
my
I
best.
agree, Paul. No, I'm totally with you. I agree
there.
that is what it is. It is feature driven. I don't care whether AI does it. I just care that it has the features. Just so happens that the features are AI based. I mean, but I agree. I want the same features. However they get to it, you're right. It has to be like who has the best feature set. And right now, like the Pixel's looking pretty nice.
Well, the cost of this is giving even these largest companies pause. So there is no way OpenAI can stay in business unless something fundamentally changes. Either like half the world signs up for ChatGPT, but even then, it's this escalating cost curve. Like the more users I add, the more GPUs I got to create, and the GPUs cost more than they can charge for that. And that's what eventually you run out of money at these amounts. We're talking billions of dollars, not like they got some couch money they spend on things. You can't sue them quick enough. This could put some large companies out. It can put OpenAI out of business for sure if they can't fund it. And how long does Microsoft pay for it? Here's the other thing we talked about several weeks ago. What is the AI feature that we all want? When we said, oh, we got email, now they can tell me what plane I'm going to get on. Sort of, maybe. I mean, sometimes, will it get better?
Pulled up the flight better than the AI did.
But that is what we want, right? We want Jarvis, right?
Right.
Can we all agree that's what we want? That's the ultimate thing, right? That's where we want AI to go. We want Jarvis. Spoken to it speaks back, it gives us whatever information we want. That's it. That's what we want.
And now we got Joey, the unreliable uncle that everybody knows.
Right. Yeah.
That's what Apple could call theirs, Joey.
That is where we currently are.
Which is,
he just constantly says,
very
how
expensive.
you doing?
Exactly, how you doing? Except it's very expensive. And that's what I'm saying. Like right now, I think Apple kind of knows this. And they're like, listen, unless we could figure out how to run this for way cheaper for us to put this much money to make it work on existing, technologies makes no sense. And so I think like the winner, like someone who's going to maybe become like the first trillionaire, I guess, is the person who will be able to figure out what that technology is, which could take the current like GPUs and make him like 80% cheaper to produce and run on 80% less energy. That person, like, they're going to win big.
And there's only about 3 or 4 companies that can make those chips.
Yeah.
Apple being one, NVIDIA, maybe Intel, maybe AMD. Maybe there's, someone else out there that potentially could do it.
And right now, clearly they're willing to take a loss on this stuff because they are taking a loss. Like you said, they are. So they're willing to try and gain market share. And to me, again, when the device has it baked in, because think how much money they make on when they sell an iPhone, right? What are you buying an iPhone for now? The top of the range, $1,500 now, right? It costs them what? $700, $800 to make? That's like at least double the amount of money. So it's like they have a lot of money baked into it already. Like when it has an AI feature that the other phones don't have, more people will buy it. So it's just like it's a loss lead as a feature because you have to use software to do it. But on the other end, they're making a ton of money on the hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Apple. For Microsoft, I don't know. I mean, like they got to sell ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot and summarize my email and Outlook. I mean, that's the things that they're saying. It's like, I mean, how much does people want to pay for GitHub Copilot? Would they pay $100 a month? Maybe. That's where it's going to have to be for them to make money, unless NVIDIA sells the chips for less than it's $10,000 a chip. It's crazy.
Microsoft resurrects the Windows Phone.
Maybe
the AI open AI phone. Is that what's going to happen?
They need LK99 powered GPUs. That's what they need. That's going to be the saving grace.
This is the answer. This is it, Paul. You've given them the answer.
That's it. That's what they got. You know what? I'm going to create my new phone, LK99. That's going to be the name of the phone. AI everything.
Fusion powered. Fusion nuclear powered.
Fusion powered.
Fantastic.
LK99. AI everything phone. Just send me. You could pre-purchase it today. $49. I'm just kidding.
Kickstarter. Let's get that Kickstarter going.
$49,000.
It's not a scam at all. I swear. LK99 is real. So is my iPhone that I made up just now.
So it turns out that apparently, I'm going to read the headline. and then we'll talk about it. But
Yeah.
thousands of Android devices come with unkillable backdoor pre-installed. So basically, this is a story about some cheap Android TV devices that are sold, produced and sold from China predominantly. I think all of them are. The container version of something called Triada. I think it's called Triada. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Malware. This is something that can do things like it does. So some of the accusations thrown at this, it contains things like advertising fraud, residential proxy services, where they claim like that they'll basically grab your IP address and they're selling access to those home networks. They claim to have 10 million home IP addresses. That's a lot. So that shows you how many devices are actually out there. We're not talking about 1,000. We're talking about 1,000 types of devices. We're talking about literal millions of devices that are infected with this at this point. One of the things, they'll create fake Gmail and WhatsApp accounts using the connections, and they'll also install remote code. So basically, some researchers at a place called Human Security, they discovered 7 different streaming boxes and 1 tablet, but they predict it could be up to 200 different devices that they were able to kind of identify. Some of this software was also found on iOS devices too, so it's not exclusive to Android. It's just the backdoor is installed exclusively on Androids, like pre-installed, like almost like from factory installed. Right? When you buy this thing, you take it out of the box. You don't expect it to, you plug it in before you even connect it to anything, have malware on it, right? You expect to somehow make a mistake and click on an email and get malware installed on it, right? But not for this. This is pre-installed. So, Sarah, what do you think? Do you expect your devices to come this way, to contain malware straight out of the box? And does this make you think twice about what you put on your network at home?
So first, I take umbrage with the very clickbaity headline, because it sounds like, oh my gosh, I should be worried about my phone. And then you read it and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not that stupid.
Oh, it's not me, it's them.
It's not. And then you read it and you're like, oh yeah, that's not affecting me because I would never. It's, you get what you pay for. If you're gonna buy some off-brand cheap junk, then I expect it. Any hacker could be like, hey, I've got this great TV streaming device and I put it up on Amazon, and it's just like, here, put this in your network and give me access to everything.
My guess is that's what a lot of these boxes are. They're $50 or less, like boxes where they're a little bit gray market, right? Or just plain out illegal, right? Where they're like, you can get TV for free. Like the TV's not free, man. It's not free. HBO Max is not free. Yeah. Except on this box, it's free.
Except on this box, you could get it for free. Yeah, exactly. So no, it does not make me pause, because I only buy name brand stuff, So I've got my Philips Hue lights. I've got my, Chamberlain garage door opener. I'm not going to buy some cheap knockoff, thing on Temu or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy anything on Temu.
These are sold on Amazon too, though. That's the other thing. You go on Amazon, look for these things. There's loads of them. There are loads, and they're generally I can't even tell you. Here's the difficult thing about this. We can't tell you which ones not to buy, because there are literally hundreds of thousands of them that are white labeled. Right? They're they're sold under 100 different brands, and it's the same hardware underneath it, and it's the same apparently malware installed on these things. So we can't be don't buy this one. You just don't buy any of them. I think it's the answer here.
Yeah, I was dealing with an escalated customer the other day for the Wi-Fi router company that I work for, and they had a tablet that literally kept changing its MAC ID every day, every night. And I'm like, oh, you should be able to turn that off. What's the brand? And she says some brand. I'm like, yeah, I've never heard of that brand. I would reach out to the manufacturer, because it doesn't even in my Android device, I can tell you exactly where to go to turn off the private MAC address. This didn't have that, no place to turn off a private MAC address. And it was just recycling new MAC IDs every single day. And I'm like, what a pain. And that can't be good.
It's trying to hide. It's trying to circumvent security controls.
Exactly.
I was going to say, would there be a
that's why I'm
valid
like, it
reason
can't
for
be
doing
good.
that?
Yes,
What?
there is a valid reason so that you can't find it. So,
Right. That's exactly
Okay.
how kids circumvent parental controls.
Yeah.
Change their Mac ID.
right.
Yeah.
You just
so,
divulge that secret
yeah.
to all the young
I know.
people. Why they're gonna quickly go to their thing and like, how do I change Mac?
They're Googling
Yeah,
Mac ID now.
Mac ID,
Change
what's
Mac ID.
Anyway,
Yeah. Never do I get more comments about how I'm a narc than my 20 ways kids circumvent parental controls video.
What I want to know is like, at what point do we, as the U.S. government, just decide this is a state-sponsored action that, like, there should be more punishment? Like, oh, you caught me. I guess I'll take that off Amazon now.
Right.
You know, but
And
they're
now
making-
it's called this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And when do in the manufacturing process can we say, oh, I bought a Fire Stick, but it's made in China, and then it comes in like that? And so a lot of times these things aren't just off-brand things; they're being done at the manufacturing process where they're installing. You know, so even I've heard reports where Apple and Samsung and Microsoft had looked at chips and motherboards and things like that because these things were changed during the manufacturing process where they were hardwired into the hardware. And this was the routers that were coming out and things like that. At what point do we have to say, you know what, maybe we need to do more to stop this state-sponsored of, because if you put a device inside your home network and you give it a Wi-Fi address and you give it access outside and has a call home app on it, which is what this does,
Yes.
they can get to every single device on your home network. And just because you bought, you know, what is it, you know, super cheap TV or whatever it is, you know, because it's streaming or a streaming box for whatever. I hadn't heard of some of these streaming boxes.
Yeah.
But like you buy one,
Weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and you're a government employee or something like that, and you have a VPN, and you're, you know, suddenly you're giving away state-sponsored secrets because you bought, you know, you didn't want to pay for HBO, you know,
Right. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to exactly that. Yeah.
right? And so then they're in that home network, but then they can just hop right onto the VPN.
So, Paul, let me ask you, what streaming box have you got? What's it called?
super cheap, made
Temu
in
special.
China, not malware powered box that I bought I got for free by sending some stuff in. And
You
I just
ticked
had
a
to give
box
him
and they
my
sent it
email
to you.
address.
Yeah.
and then if you turn it over, it has a phone number scribbled. If you know anybody who's willing to donate a liver, something about that. I don't know. It's, no, it's weird. It's weird. And all the
use a
stuff is in
Roku. That's
Chinese.
what I
Like when you
use.
watch it,
I love
yeah,
Roku.
Roku is good. That's Roku's good.
It's expensive.
You know mine. I told you last week it was my
Fire-
recommendation
yeah,
again. The
yeah,
Fire
Fire
TV
TV
stick.
stick.
It's just like just buy an Amazon device. You can't go wrong.
This
Or buy a
makes-
Roku.
I do think if I had a recommendation, people are listening to us what the recommendation is. It's like if you're buying a streaming device, I think there's three: Amazon, Roku, and the Apple box.
Yeah.
That's the only three now after reading this, like I would ever
Yeah.
buy.
Right.
Like I wouldn't buy anybody else's at this point. And and I'm worried that someone just puts it in on a Roku because it's made in China and they ship it over.
Yes.
I'd be in big trouble. I have like at least 6 Roku devices here.
So that's why you have to have a firewall like Firewalla on your network that will alert you every time there's a call home device running. And then you can
Right.
white label those and say, oh, I know that's okay. I know that's okay. It shows you this device uploaded data. And when you see them doing it, then you can turn them off or or turn them on or, what you should have told your customer, Sarah, is like, you need to throw that tablet away.
I know.
Right. Go buy an iPad or
Samsung
something, or like go buy a Samsung.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to for sure. Like, you're gonna need to reach out to the manufacturer. 'Cause-
Yeah. Trash it. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, literally never heard of the brand. I even Googled it and there was like nothing on the
Oh my god.
I'm
Well,
like,
this is the problem.
super legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the problem because when you do have something like that and you do try and Google it, you're not going to find a negative review of it because last week it was called something else.
Right.
Right.
Like they change names so often. That's what I'm saying. There probably are a few. There's probably dozens or 50 of these actual pieces of hardware, but they're literally under thousands of names.
Yeah.
They're just white labeled.
Right.
They'll just get them and they'll put their own malware on it and they'll label it something. They'll call it the super duper box and they'll push it out.
The totally not malware box.
The other part of me though thinks about like, man, because you know how it's important to get quality data, so you want to qualify your users by making these devices like cheap and basically the type of people they're gonna buy. That's like, it's like the headache of managing all the data you collect got to be an issue. You know, it's like China must have like a really good algorithm to weed out. You know,
AI.
They know exactly where to put all that data.
Well, it does make me wonder, what are they doing with it? Like, what's the point?
Millions of zombie computers. It's number one. Millions of zombie computers. And they can sell that access to people. And then they run like denial of service attacks or whatever they can do.
Right.
They actually also said that there's some ad scam here too, where it's clicking through ads so it can make money through that somehow. Like, it's unbeknownst to the person doing it. So you could run this box on your home network and run it for a decade and never have a clue that it's been doing something on the back end.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I guess that's where invalid traffic comes from for YouTube. Is that what it is?
Thanks. Thanks.
Probably. Yeah.
Stupid invalid traffic.
So I guess this is our Skynet Watch section, unofficially. But let's talk about AI watching you at the checkout, because I thought this was a great story to talk about. So in retail, there's something called, they call it shrink in retail, right? Basically, it's theft. It's theft from a store. They call it has the sanitized name of shrink.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. But apparently self-checkout causes more shrink, whether it be right, whether it be for two reasons. Obviously, somebody can just like walk through it and just like not check out at all, or also accidental. I don't know if I've ever accidentally not checked out correctly, but I would assume maybe I have, because I don't know, because just the laws of averages, right? Like, I'm sure I've misscanned something or whatever. I'm sure it's happened. Just like when you scan out with the person, right? You look at your receipt afterwards, you're like, man, they only scanned one of those, or they scanned that twice. Like, that sucks.
Right.
Whatever it is, like accidental or non-accidental. So, but I guess overall, self-checkout has more shrink. So here's what Kroger has decided to do. They are now having cameras watch the self-checkout lanes, and that video from the camera is fed through an AI. That AI then alerts an employee when they feel that somebody has not scanned something correctly. This is currently active in 1,700 Kroger stores. This is not sci-fi. This is not something that's coming tomorrow. This is here right now. If you go check out at a Kroger, based on the fact they only have 2,800 stores, chances are you probably are getting watched by a camera that's maybe running through an AI that's then alerting a store employee that when they think you've misscanned something. So I guess the intention is, if you just like, I don't know, it doesn't beep or something, or I don't know. I'm sure the professionals have a way of trying to steal from these machines. If it doesn't do that, then an employee is likely to stop you on the way out of the door. Apparently, Walmart and Target are also interested in employing similar technologies. A company called Everseen Visual AI, which, interesting company name. But yeah, they're onto something, I guess. They're going to sell a bunch of these, and they're going to make a whole bunch of money selling these to at least Kroger's and maybe Walmart's and Target's. So I'm going to ask you just one thing first. Quick yes or no. Do you prefer self-checkout?
Yes.
Or, 100%.
Yeah,
Don't
Bobby?
me while I'm buying stuff. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sarah?
I say it depends. I can't give a yes or no. And this,
okay, what's your scenario for each?
This is one thing that like my husband's really frustrated with me about. Like, I can't just say like yes or no. I'm like, there's too many variables. Like, he asks if I pack the toothbrush. There's too many variables to say yes or no if I pack the toothbrush. I promise.
On, that's a
literally
yes
happened. But well, because if he wants to take the Sonicare, then no, I didn't pack it yet. But if he wants to take like a regular toothbrush, then yes, I did pack it. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Point. There's variables. So the variables are, if I have 5 things, I'll just run through the self-checkout. It's totally fine. But if I have like my full grocery order, there is no way I'm going through the self-checkout. I don't want to I'm not doing your job for you. I'm not bagging all my stuff and making sure everything, it's a huge pain. So this is why I'm saying this, because all of you are men, and I bet your wives do the majority of the grocery shopping. And so all you're doing is the 5-item checkout. And so that's why you prefer self-checkout, because you're not doing the full grocery run for a house of 4 people.
I'm laughing.
100% true. I haven't been to the grocery store in 15 years. So.
Exactly.
I'm going to say I'm single, but I'm laughing because I'm like, you know how my do man thing about Roman empires got some flack, be ready. Be ready, Sarah. Be ready. There's gonna be someone on Twitter, or you know what, Kevin? This is if you're gonna make a little clip, that is
short.
right there.
We'll cut right here and Paul, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, Roman. No, never mind. But yeah, it's funny.
Get a job.
Yeah, you know, probably true. It's all true. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
This
I'm
is why
probably
you have
similar
the-
to you,
have a
Sarah. I guess
That's why you have a chick on the podcast. I promise.
I would say I'm probably similar though. Most of the time, I would be self checkout. But there are times when it's just like when I have a lot of stuff. Like I do go shopping so my wife and I will both go shopping at the same time when we go. And yeah, we'll go to like a regular.
I could tell you the
But I would say
conversation we
probably
had last week. Kelly said, "Can we use Instacart?" And I said, "If we don't, do I have to go to Publix?"
She says yes. You're like, then yes, you can.
We're
use
using Instacart. Let's Instacart that thing.
Exactly.
So Bobby, let me ask you: are you worried about your days of scanning only one of your 2 Monster Energy drinks are over? Is that done now?
How did this happen?
No.
I only meant to buy
seriously,
one.
I don't know how that
seriously. I don't know. I don't know what
My
happened.
hands are full. I put one in my
You
pocket
see
to scan
Bobby
it,
like
and I
walking
forgot.
there, juggling,
That's
trying to like mess the AI system. He's like, "This is not going to catch it. It's you know."
Well, I do wonder. So, Bobby, but seriously, what do you think? Good use of AI, good or bad for consumers?
So, given the state of retail news that we've all seen in these major cities where people are just walking out with stuff anyway, San Francisco, the large cities, I can't believe that Target or Walmart or any of these big chains are even going to implement this because they're not stopping people to begin with. The only person they're going to stop is me that accidentally didn't scan the pack of gum or whatever it was, you know?
The second monster.
Which I wouldn't be offended. I don't get offended by that. Like if I'm walking out of Walmart and they want to check my bag, I really don't care, you know? So I don't get offended by that. And a lot of people, I read through the article and they said some people would be offended if they're stopped. I'm like, I don't think
I'm not sure that I would take offense, but if I'm busy and I'm like, I gotta get somewhere and I'm in a hurry and they're stopping me, I would get super annoyed. Like,
I don't
hey,
like it.
Listen, I need to get my son from school, so can you hurry this up?
That's what all the shoplifters say,
that
ma'am.
Sounds exactly what I said when I felt offended when I was walking out with that Snickers bar when I was 10 years old out of that supermarket. But yeah, you know, we've all been there, Sarah. We've all been there.
Sarah, you're soon to be on a TikTok video for sure.
I know, right? I swear, I gotta just go get my son from school. I didn't notice I had 5 things in my pocket.
Yeah, you're gonna be on a calm down Karen video here in
Calm
just
down,
like
Karen.
2 minutes.
You know, but hopefully, you know, I think it's terrible because the way they said it, like, you know, if you scan something by accident the second time, they'll have someone come in and check your bags. And I think that adds to element of like confrontation. Like, I feel like if you're in a store and you work there, you're not a professional police officer. Maybe they have professional security who are like designed to handle those situations, but to like make a big deal out of like self-checkout, you're not buying a television set, you know, you're buying like 10 things. Like it could be like $50 at most, maybe like whatever it is. Maybe it's more, but the point is, it's like, if is a thief and you catch him and now they are aware they got caught, like what are the chances of them being like, "Oh, you caught me. You know what? I'm sorry. Here you go. Take me." Or boom, quick punch to the face, jump over the counter, run away because of big scene. And so I think a much smarter use of this is instead of like making a deal of it, it's like, you're like, okay, they shoplifted. It was under $20, whatever. And what it does, it saves their photo in a database. And I think some stores actually do this. I think jewelry stores or Target does this. I'm not sure, but will be good to look into. And they basically keep a running tab. And once your stealing theft like gets above a certain like amount of money, which it becomes like a much higher level like felony or whatever, then they just call the police and they meet you outside. And it's like very automatic. I think that might be like more useful than to have every 5 minutes because I leaned on the scale by accident, or I tried to get a second Red Bull for no reason, that it keeps calling like an employee that works there. You know what I mean?
So you're saying put the cameras on the outside of the store.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
and
once
deny
they know
entry
that you've
coming
stolen
in based
before,
on
that's even better. Yeah.
It just has the red siren goes off.
No,
you
to me,
cannot
the
enter,
issue with
then
that, it's
that's
like
what they
it's
yell at you in
shaming
some
people in
robotic voice.
public. Like, yeah, it's very subtle. It's like you accident, like in your case, Bobby, like you accidentally put a thing in your pocket, and it was like, Bobby, what are you doing? Put that back. You know, it's like, what are you doing? It's an accident. It's an honest mistake. And I think like that's terrible. You know, like I feel like
I think it's a slippery slope for some of the idea in terms of like
exactly.
what China has with like your social score.
Yeah.
Right? It really is that slippery slope. Do we want to have a score? So it says like, there is a Face ID on the way in. It says, yes, you have a good social score. You're allowed into my store, or no, you're not. I mean, it's a slippery slope towards that.
But Target right now doesn't confront shoplifters in all these large cities.
Most retailers don't. Like,
so I don't know why they're installing the cameras.
Shot.
Yeah. My husband worked at Best Buy for like 10 years, and like they're specifically instructed to like not go chasing after somebody because, again, like Paul said, they're not professional like law enforcement. Like, what are they going to do when they like catch up to the guy? The guy punches him and then, whatever.
Of course.
Or worse, shoots or stabs him.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So like they don't go after shoplifters. But what Paul said really made me think, if they're going to have all of these alerts coming across all the time, they're going to have the same amount of staff to manage all of these alerts that they would to just have them at the checkout.
You know what's going to happen, just what happens today. Have you walked out of a Target or a different store and the alarm's gone off? And I've had that before, and nobody comes to you.
No.
I just continue. I look around like,
I
it was coming, and I continue walking.
So I think what Paul's onto, they're going to go after these like card counters in casinos. I think they're just going to use the numbers and deny entry and say you can't come in.
But I didn't steal anything yet. But we know it's going to be like the Minority Report. That's where the future is going. Minority Report.
Do you need the pictures, son?
Yeah.
Right. We've got the pictures.
Oh my gosh. Nice. This is because you said you got the pictures, like triggered something in my brain. So I got this thing in my mail. It's like, you owe $27 in tolls. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it says, is this you? And it shows my car with my license plate on it. And I'm like, clearly that's not, I'm obviously joking, but I'm like, clearly this is not my car. In my mind, like, I'm going to call and tell him, listen, this wasn't me. You made a mistake over 27. And then they show me the front picture. It's me like holding a burger. I'm like, they got me. So I just paid the toll. I was like, you know what? So I think, it's a system,
I was in DC driving home, and I went through the toll lanes on purpose because the traffic is so bad. I said, Kelly, how much is it going to cost? I'm like, it doesn't matter. We'll never get home in this traffic. So I paid all the
exactly.
tolls.
I paid all the tolls because that's true. Oh my gosh.
My favorite use of that was in National Treasure, where he's got the like thing and he like holds it up while he's running a red light.
Yep, that's a good one.
But back to the stores thing, I actually read an article earlier this week before I even saw that this was in our topics, that a lot of stores are rolling it back and adding more actual checkout lanes.
Gotta be cheaper.
Right, because they're figuring out that people still need people to help them check out. Like, they've got to have somebody there for theft. They've got to have somebody there, like, when people are scanning incorrectly or whatever. Like, there still has so much human interaction. They're like, this isn't even, like, doing anything because we still need people there to man the self-checkout lines.
There are some stores that don't have anybody working.
Oh, yeah.
There's a store here at the airport when I traveled out, not last time, the time before, that is a totally unmanned store. It's like a little, they just sell like drinks and sandwiches and whatever, but you walk in, you scan your own thing and you just walk out. And I was wondering, does everybody scan here? And what is the
they ask you
Let me
if
ask
you
you
want
a
to leave a
question,
tip,
Kevin.
right?
Let me ask you a question because I had a similar experience. When you walked up to that thing, did you wonder, like, what if I just don't pay? What if I just go? Like, how does this work? Like, no, from technical.
No, so personally, no, but I did think, who doesn't pay at this? I definitely did think, like, I guarantee you people don't pay at this. Yeah. I just, it It's just there's nobody there. I know people walk in, grab a water and walk out. I've seen people do it at stores that are manned. So
what's
I
crazy about that? Like, what if you like run your card and accidentally overcharge you? Like, what do you do then? You got robbed.
I don't know. There's a number you call or something. I guess I don't know.
It's but the coolest, right?
You better pick up that extra sandwich you just bought. I guess.
Yeah, I know. Like, oh, they
but
charged
the coolest thing I saw at the airport, which I think they need to use all these cool technologies to prevent theft, is that they had this basket. You just put stuff in it, and it automatically knows what you have in it, like if what food you got, whatever. They just build it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Well, I think Amazon has a store like that, right?
Yeah.
Amazon has one like that. It's I want to say it's West Coast somewhere. It's
Seattle,
Seattle, maybe?
in California or Washington, I think.
But
it's one of those
I'm
two.
so introverted. Yeah. We have 2 stores. One closes at 10, the other one closes at 11. And so the one that closes at 10 is closer. So I went to that one and I go in and I get my stuff. And then I look and I'm like, all the self-checkouts are closed. Only ones are open with real people. So I just left and went to the other store because I didn't want to see anybody or talk to anybody because I was like, leave me alone. I'm buying, you know why? It's 10 p.m. I'm buying cookies and ice cream. I don't want people to judge me. It's 10. Like, who's going to be like, what the hell?
Feel bad about it.
You. What are you doing? You don't need cookies at 10 p.m. Like, I don't need that conversation. Even if people don't say it, I don't want them to look at me like judging me. Like, listen, the fact that I have 2 cases of cookies, I'm single by myself. Obviously, I have no one to share them with, and ice cream on top of that. This is forget it.
Here's what you do, Paul. You walk to the thing. You're still like, man, kids, I got to get like the cookies and that.
Yeah, and they're gonna
the kids,
man,
these
like,
they go through these things like crazy. They don't know.
You got kids. Show me pictures of your kids.
So
it's
my
like, hell no.
question to
Just leave me alone. Listen,
Picture didn't happen. Did you already have this stuff in your hand?
Yeah, I had the stuff in my hand. I put it back.
Or did you walk in and see?
I can't.
I can't.
No,
I can't even fathom that.
I want human interaction on my terms. Especially when I'm buying like too many cookies.
I was in a hardware store and the self-checkout lanes were closed. And that's what made me mad. I was just like, it was already to have 37 lanes in these hardware stores, and there's like one person scanning. Then they close the self-checkout, and we're like, what are we doing here?
Agreed. Self-checkout should never be closed.
It should never be closed, ever.
Hardware store, I feel like
There's
they ask you too many questions. Like, they always ask me my contractor ID. I'm like, what the hell? Do I look like a contractor too? Like, what do you want? And they're like, do you want to sign up for this? They're always like upselling.
You're like, I'm buying a light bulb.
Upselling you for their store membership, their store card. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, I just wasted 20 minutes talking to you. I mean, I love all the people that work cash outs. I worked as cash outs before, but I just at an age where, I can't do it.
Okay, let's move on to our final section. Null, not null recommendation section. Section where we either recommend or recommend that you avoid a product or service. Does anybody this week have a null?
Yes.
Okay.
Go, Paul.
Then your first, Paul. Go for it.
I bought these headphones by Bose. They're like Be Quiet. I think they're over $300.
Wait, I think that was a not null
it
for you.
It was not null for me.
I really
working
do.
under the assumption.
Like, I'm having a flashback.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a
Let
not
me give
null.
you some history because
Sorry to everybody that bought them on Paul's recommendation.
I'm gonna, you know what? I am sorry. I will apologize. I'm not sorry about my Roman comments that I made, but I am sorry that I recommended these headphones because this is my second pair. And I bought my first pair, $300 at least, like I think. And I was like, oh, they're so awesome. They're so good. And then they just started to just automatically, like the volume will go down automatically all the time. There's nothing you could do to fix it. I was like, oh man, maybe I got a lemon. I tried to return them. It was past the return date. And so I was like, that sucks. And I was like, you know what? Bose makes really good headphones. Let me just buy another pair. So I bought another pair. I bought stupid Geek Protection. We'll see how it goes next week. I'm going to go see if I could get these replaced. But nothing works anymore. You can't even plug it in through they're wireless, but they have a wire here. You can't even plug it in with a wire and have them work, which is stupid. Like the ones that I'm wearing right now, they're Bose headphones, but they're the cheap ones. never broke, had them forever. The $340, $50 ones just break all the time. So I'm really upset. And at this point, even if they fix them, I don't think I will buy this particular brand of headphones ever again. And maybe I'm like a abusive user, which I don't think I am. The fact that it's like, I mean, how something for that much money breaks so easily, like without, it just sits on my table. It doesn't do anything.
I got the same set that just doesn't work anymore. I don't know.
Confirmed.
They just won't pair. They won't pair to anything.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, that's so weird. So, Paul, here's what I want from you next week. I need you to go and try and return those and use your Geek Squad, whatever it's called, thing. And I want you to come back next week and tell us about that experience. And it's either going to be a null or not null.
It's probably
We're
going to
never
be
going to
a
sponsor
super
for
null.
this podcast, are we?
It's probably going to be
I'm like,
super null.
I have a feeling I know which way that's going to go,
God.
but
I have a
getting
feeling.
Anxiety already. I'm getting excited. I'm getting. I could feel your excitement, like underneath your skin. Like, this dude has no idea what he's got coming. Oh, he's gonna go too.
You're going to try and cash in on a policy that they're going to be like, hold on, is it Wednesday? Yeah, we don't take that on Wednesdays.
Exactly. Because some like arbitrary rules. They'll be like, you got to do the moonwalk dance. And you got to spin 5 times. And after I do it, they're like, you didn't quite hit it, and so we can't. No.
Yeah. Oh, these are the white ones. Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't have that kind of Bluetooth.
Yeah. Wait, what's your name again? Oh, Paul. Yeah, you actually can't. We don't take. Sorry, we didn't.
We don't do names with the letter P.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
That'll be great. Give us that next week.
Yeah.
I also have a null, but I feel like we've beaten this dead horse, like to death, and then like resurrected, and then death again. But Delta Airlines, I had a flight like in January coming back from Miami. I actually like split this flight. I'm going there on a different airline, and I'm coming back on Delta Airlines. I'm going on a cruise. My flight was at 6 p.m. I get an email saying, we've changed your flight time to 6 a.m. that day. I'm like,
wow.
I'm not going to be there. Like, I will still be on a boat. So what are you going to do about that? And so now I have like, and it was a direct flight. I pay extra for like a direct flight because I don't want to deal with like a layover. And so now my flight home has a layover and everything. I'm like, come on, you're just like, I booked a specific flight. If I felt like Seinfeld, like you can just take the reservations, but it's holding the reservation that's important. So airlines, stop.
The crazy thing is, Delta is the best of them.
They're the best ones.
It's like, which is nuts. They're the best, and it's still bad.
Right.
Since COVID.
I think my secret conspiracy, which I don't think is a conspiracy at this point, is that they're so understaffed and undermanaged, but they just don't want to publicly announce.
True.
So they literally try to fit as many people on whatever plane. And the crazy thing is, like, they could do whatever they want, and there's literally nothing you could do. Like, literally.
Right.
That's the problem.
There's nothing you could do.
Like, I had to call them. I'm like, I can't make a 6 a.m. flight. Like,
so I don't know if I completely told the story, but also with Delta, when I went to Vegas last time, I purchased ticket. I bought their purchase stupid insurance that you could cancel just in case something comes up. Something did come up.
You're a sucker for those insurances.
I felt like a sucker for that.
It's just 2 in one episode.
They would not cancel. So I basically bought 2 plane tickets and I didn't use one of them. And what was like, I add like insult to injury is like I'm still in Vegas and they're like sending me a reminder to the plane that I don't need to take because they never returned it back to me. Like, your flight leaves in half an hour. I'm like, you sons of
nope, I'm already here.
You stupid Delta. I love that.
You're gonna get banned for skip lagging.
Right. And then we had that episode of skip lagging. I'm like, it wasn't my fault. You never refunded my goddamn tickets. So thank God. I'm probably on some list. They're like, he bought too many tickets. Whatever.
Probably. Okay, Bobby, what you got?
So my not null for the week is Loki season 2. I watched the premiere last Friday. Really good.
Okay, I'll have to check really it out.
Probably the best thing Marvel's put out in a while.
Oh,
and I'm a huge Marvel fan, but their last stuff they put out hasn't been as good. So it's really good. I would recommend if you like Marvel or if you like Loki 1, Loki 2 is probably as good or better than the first season. So
I like Loki 1, but I got really overwhelmed in the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, there's just too many worlds. Like, I can't.
The multiverse.
It's too many.
Wait till you see this one.
Oh, great. See, that's just going to stress me out now.
Right. So the whole thing is like there's multiversal travel and time travel on the same episode. So like you got to figure out. So which what? Yeah. Okay, I got it. So you need to get a slide ruler and a big sheet of paper and some yarn, and then you can keep up with it.
Yeah, I feel like it's like worse than a soap opera. You know, like the soap opera, you've got like, and this person's been married to this person and this person and this person and this person, and they have like this kid, and it's all like,
Oh man,
I haven't watched it yet, but I definitely it's on my list.
Entertaining
for sure.
Good.
Okay, my not know for this week is the Quest 3. Mine came yesterday.
Oh,
it's legit good. It's legit good. Like the I would say pass through on it is really, really good, especially compared to the 2. The full color pass through is like it's legit. You kind of like the mixed reality stuff really blends into your room. It's really quite good. It has some issues with like up close, so you can use your phone through it and you can read what's on your phone, but you do get some kind of distortions when it's up real close, like when you hold it at a distance you would normally read at. So if it's more than a couple of feet away, it looks good. Otherwise, when it's close, it kind of like it creates like a halo kind of around it and distorts, and you're not quite tapping where you think you're tapping, which is a strange feeling to have because you see your hand, but it's not in the right spot. So it feels weird. So I will say that's kind of strange. Biggest thing from a 2 to a 3 is the lenses. So if you've used a Quest 2, you'll know the lenses have a sweet spot on them. You've got to try and get them exactly right on your face, and you'll have this very, very like focused sweet spot. If you get it wrong, and the peripheral around it can be kind of like distorted. These ones across the entire lens are a sweet spot. Like it doesn't matter where you have it; everything's clear. It's really, really good. I was very impressed by that. Downside, same UI. It's nothing, there's no new specific games for it other than some mixed reality demo type things right now. And I did have a bug with it already. Last night, I played with it for maybe an hour, maybe 2 at most last night. And I got a bug like on my second boot of it. The audio was switched.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, weird.
The left was in the right and the right was in the left. When I looked at a menu and I clicked it, I was like, why is it over there? But it's coming right here. So I could turn my head and I could click it over here, but it was happening over here. It was really strange.
Oh, weird.
Reboot fixed it. So hoping I don't see that again.
Yeah. When in doubt, reboot it out. That's what I always say.
Such a weird one though, right? Like how does that, like, because I thought, oh man, it's faulty. They've installed the left speaker in the right speaker or something. You know what I mean? Like, and the wires are messed up. Because as soon as I noticed it, I was like, I couldn't unnotice it. So yeah, I Googled it, didn't find anything, restarted it, and it worked. So who knows? But yeah, definitely would recommend. Definitely a cool piece of.
I think that's called immersive experience.
Weeks, just like
you
Paul.
had like it was happening in your VR environment that they just wanted to confuse you so much to make it authentic. It's like, is it in real world are my speakers messed up, or is it in the virtual world? Maybe you had to like reach in with your hand, take it, and move it to your ear. I'm just
maybe. I will say the mixed reality experience, like the demo that they give you first, it's called First Contact, maybe something like that it's called. It's like this little alien demo thing where you're kind of like, you map out your room and then like the ceiling falls in and a little spaceship lands and these little aliens you've got to shoot like come out into your room. It's very, very immersive. It's very, very good. And the other thing is you can map out like desks and things in your room as well. So as I mapped out like pieces of furniture in my room here, the little aliens interacted with those pieces of furniture. So I had my bookshelf behind me and they were like sitting on top of the bookshelf. And they were like sitting on the desk over here. And I was like, that's impressive. And they were hiding behind the furniture. Like I was like, wow, that's impressive.
It reminds me of PlayStation 5, or I don't know, maybe it was PlayStation 4, but the AR bots. I don't know if you played with those, but they were so fun. It's the same kind of thing. Like if you have like the PlayStation controller, you can swipe out on the top and like release a bunch of like bots, and they go all over your
I do
room.
remember that. Yeah,
and then they're
remember
like,
that.
you know, they're kind of interacting with all like the stuff that's in your room and stuff. It's
I'm
really
still
cool.
laughing how you even mimicked how you hold a controller, which is totally wrong. It's like this. Come on.
That's you know what? That's how pro gamers play. I had a friend, he played like that. That's not.
I don't think so.
I'm not even
I'm
making
pretty
that
sure
up.
they
I had
don't.
a friend, that's how he played. He's like, I swear to God, you react faster. That's what he told me. He was also really good. But I was gonna say, remember how I said I'm gonna make this game to scare the living daylights out of kids? I'm glad that Quest 3 AR experience is so good. So this is my idea. I'm gonna make a game. It's basically like kids, like they have to water plants and watch them grow, and that's gonna be the whole experience. And then when they really get like comfortable and they're like, oh, this is a very safe environment, the thing's gonna explode and Chucky's gonna come out. What do you think? It's like,
I think it's a winner.
It's like
Paul. You should make it.
between 5 and 6. I think it's great, and it's like, and for the parents, this is how you know you won, because like obviously you're not playing with your kids, you're watching them play the game. Is it will measure the amount of scream coming out of your kid, and so like, and then you get to post the reaction.
Like, oh, there's
and
the
then you get to post the reaction on Twitter. Kids like, this is great.
We're going to be covering this story here in a few weeks, like scary kids game banned from the Oculus store.
I'm gonna do.
Paul's like, I don't know who
right.
made
If
that
that game will exist, would be like not under my real. It'll be like Ghost Game Creator.
Which is what?
Yeah, exactly. Like scared the
Inc.
out of your kids by Breslavsky Inc.
Super hidden,
super secret,
super hidden.
Okay, well that's it. That's it for this week's episode. As always, I ask you if you would leave us a review somewhere. That would be awesome. Or you could drop us an email. Oh, which I meant to actually. We got an email.
We got an email at the Null Podcast at AOL.com.
Yes, at that.
He doesn't even know how to get to AOL.
I don't. That's how often I've been here. Like, I'm seriously. I was like, okay. Here we go. We got another one, I think, maybe. Look, this is junk. We got junk.
We've made it. We've got spam.
We've got spam.
We got spam. Yeah. We got spam.
Darn it.
What do they want? I'd be very glad
he received $13 million, you guys.
Man.
Jeez.
You guys.
Oh, we need to reply to this.
We do need to reply.
This could be our windfall.
Yeah.
This could be it.
It's not lottery money, so I'm going to skip. You know, if it was $1.5 billion,
I was going to say, that's not life-changing money.
I mean, seriously, you know?
Oh,
that's
Greg
funny.
Lossick. I know him.
Okay.
That doesn't count then. Greg. No, it counts, Greg. No, Greg, it
but
counts.
I didn't know he wrote anything in.
He wrote us in. So this is what Greg said. Greg, thank you so much for writing us an email. Greg said, maybe it's been more than one episode and I missed it, but I believe the latest episode was the first to not mention X, or the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, or Elon Musk. I knew you could all do it. I'm not a coder in IT, but I work in automation, access control, and it's loosely related in some ways. Either way, I'm enjoying the show. Keep it up. Thanks.
Awesome.
Right.
Thanks so much, Greg. That's actually Greg. Like, he didn't even say anything to me. He's one of my husband's like best friends. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Greg, thank you. We didn't mention him in this, Greg, other than you mentioning him because he's doing weird stuff, which we're not talking about. But
yeah, he is.
We refuse to talk about it because there's too much weird stuff with him.
That's so
thank
funny.
you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
There you go. So yes, you can drop us an email. What's that email address again, Sarah?
The Not Null Podcast at AOL.com.
That's it. You can drop us an email there if you're a Nigerian scammer trying to send us $13.5 million, or if you're Greg. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Nigerian scammer. We appreciate every and all email that comes to our email address. And we'll catch you guys next week.